I'm Bud with Klasik. I'm here with Brandon from Universal HVAC Group. Brandon and Universal is one of our best trade partners by far. We love working with you guys for a couple different reasons. On projects, like when we get drawings, 50, 60, 100 pages, whatever it is, we send them out to subcontractors and rely on you guys for your expertise, your knowledge. Always. This happened recently, and I was so excited. So a project came in, we got a set of drawings. You guys reviewed it and said, actually, what is spec is probably not the best way to go. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's probably not the best path to go. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So that's actually more common than you think it happens with us on most of our jobs. Now, like you said, you break it off to the people that are experts in their field. And so our goal is we want to provide like the best possible system for every client, because there is no one size fits all in HVAC.
Yeah.
Now, there are times where mechanical engineers may overestimate things and may not see things in like the same way we do. They'll give you more expensive equipment or unnecessary things that either won't really fulfill the purpose or is just overkill for whatever the space may be.
Yeah.
So what we do is we sit down, we properly analyze everything to make sure that we're giving you the best for your space specifically. We don't want to overcharge. We don't want to make something small. It's a much more complex and bigger thing.
Yeah.
So we like to be fairly honest with the client, and we want it to be a smooth process, not only for us, but for the customer and for the GC as well, because it can be tough managing all different kinds of trades at the same time.
Yep.
So our goal is eliminate the whole HVAC worry for you.
Yep.
Leave it to us.
Yeah.
As our slogan says, leave it to the professionals.
Absolutely. I love it. So one thing we talk about a lot at Klasik is like we have our core values. There's something that's even above and beyond what's not even a core value. It's just in our DNA, which is communication. Can you tell me about a time where it's like you were on a project where we were working together and communication was just like so perfect that you was like, oh, this made my life a lot easier, this project a lot easier?
I mean, honestly, it isn't even like a one instance thing. I feel from all the general contractors we work with, you guys at Klasik do a real good job in terms of communication, whether it's setting up dates for us to be on the job, helping us coordinate with other subs to make sure that everything's prepped for us to come in, payments, contracts, communications about pricing, everything. You guys are always on top of it, and that's something that we all really appreciate because it makes our life easier. Because there's many instances where like I send out so many documents all the time, and it's rare I get a response from the general contractor.
Yeah.
They don't even tell me like, oh, is there anything about the price? They don't ask questions, nothing. And things like that, it makes the business much more difficult. But with you guys, it's very straightforward. Every time I send an email, I always get a timed response within a day for sure.
Yeah.
So you guys are always open, communicate with us, and you guys just make the process much more seamless than like many others do.
One of the most important things for us is like if we tell our subs to be at a job site, that means they should be at a job site. If you show up at a job site and you can't work, it's wasted time. And you got to get guys somewhere else, and it's just you're burning money, and that's what we want to avoid for everybody. At Klasik, one of our core values is community. How would you describe like the overall like working with Klasik, working with the rest of the team? What's your takeaways from working with Klasik?
I mean, I feel it's very like low pressure in a sense. It's not like a very high stress like business situation where it's like constant like extreme deadlines, tough negotiations, things like that. Like everything I feel is a much more like calm, simple flow. Everything moves steadily. There's not really any time to where it's like, oh no, what's going on with this? What's going on with that? Everything is like always calm whenever we deal with you guys. And, that's one of the reasons why we really enjoy doing business, because at the end of the day, everything is very simple. And that's what I feel is the most important thing. Communication is straightforward. You guys don't have like extreme expectations. You guys are reasonable. You're understanding. As we know, in construction, nothing is ever perfect.
Absolutely.
Nothing ever goes according to plan. So you guys help, mediate whatever the situation is, as we try to do as well. So yeah, at the end of the day, everyone is happy and everybody wants to work together again.
Yep. We were, I was at our project at 212 East Ontario. So it's 10,000 square feet, built in 1885. Just a complicated project, to say the least, especially for you guys. There's plaster walls everywhere. So we got to figure out, okay, how are we going to design this system to be efficient through plaster walls and brick? And we didn't know brick was going to be here behind this wall. Now we have to take that down. And then I was there with the Universal team when we were with the cranes. And so we block off traffic. This is one of my favorite days because it's high pressure. Then we get there, and I was talking to the Universal team, and one of our other core values is competency. And this is where it really hit home for me, where it was like, oh, we're dealing with a very competent and one of the best crews, because everybody from Universal was like, yeah, it's no big deal. Like, no, we'll figure it out, Yeah, it's complicated. We had to stop traffic. We're a block off Michigan Avenue, downtown Chicago. There's a lot going on. And it was just like between the crane operator and Leo and the rest of the Universal team, everybody was like, yeah, it's not a big deal. We'll figure it out. And I was like, this is the best. This is why we work with these guys.
And you know what? It's funny that you bring up that instance, because the crane company, when they pulled the permit, for some reason, the city marked off the wrong block, not the one that we actually needed to do.
I took a video of that.
Yeah.
I took a video of that.
So, like, that one was, like, an even more high-pressure situation than it should have been. Well, that's why we had to, like, do all the blocking of the traffic, get all the cars, like, moved out of the way if we could. Like, that one was a high-pressure situation for sure. But, a lot of jobs, we experience those high pressures. Like, if you look at some of the projects that we've done, you'd be like,
yeah,
wow, we've had instances where we were working like within 4 feet of power allowance because we had to run galvanized ductwork all the way up to the roof, 100 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Like, we've had a lot of situations where, like, not many HVAC contractors can pull off what we do. Yeah. And I feel that's what, like, stands out about our company the most.
I would agree.
Not only that we're willing to take on the challenge, but we do so in an efficient manner where everything is done properly and no one's like at risk of anything.
Yeah.
Everything we do, safety is priority, but we also make sure that everything gets done.
It's like taking the time to approach it in a very thoughtful way so that it's safe, which is the same approach that we have. It's like, okay, let's take our time to figure everything out beforehand, talk to you guys, talk to the other vendors of like, okay, before we start to get, boots on the ground, what's the best way to go about this? What's the safest way to go about this? So I appreciate that about you guys. From your experience with Klasik versus some of the other trades or versus some of the other general contractors, what do you see as like the main difference?
I think the main difference is the responsibility that you guys take on. You guys are very responsible in terms of, mitigating between the client, the subs, handling all the things that are going on at the job site. Being a general contractor is not an easy job because it's like you're babysitting a ton of people at the same time. Everybody has their own way of doing it, but you got to make sure that it lines up with the goals.
It's like herding cats a lot of times.
Yeah. So it's like, you guys have shown to be very responsible and on top of things, Like I mentioned, you guys are very open with the communication, which I feel is very important. But not just that. You guys are very good at mitigating everything, making sure everyone is working together, making sure the scheduling is proper so you're not wasting someone's time, whether it's a client or any of the other subs. So I feel that's something that really stands out because, from what I've heard, many people have a bad stigma around general contractors.
Yep.
It's either you get a really good one or you get a really bad one. But with the way you guys work, I feel it's kind of like making people feel more comfortable and making people feel more willing to do work. Because, it's sometimes people feel it's a risk.
Yeah.
Dumping your money when you're dealing with a general contractor would be shady. It happens all the time.
Yep.
Whether we want to believe it or we don't. But you guys do a good job of like kind of breaking that stigma and showing the customer like there are good general contractors out here. We find good subs that are willing to do good work as well so that you don't have a problem from any of us. So I feel you guys taking on that responsibility and kind of proving that, we'll take it from here. That's like very good. Very good. Sorry.
One of my favorite things to see on the job site is when subcontractors arrive and the two trades know each other. To me, that if I saw that as a customer, I would feel very comfortable because I know those teams have all worked together before. How do you find that, like working with Klasik, working with other trades? How is that experience? Like, are you guys pretty comfortable? You like see familiar faces every time you're on the job site?
I mean, yeah, we see a lot of familiar faces, and of course, like after 2-3 jobs of working together, you're gonna become like more friendly with each other. You guys know like how you guys work. You have to like work things out between each other. Sometimes like if the plumber's working or if the electrician's working, like, we feel like we can go up and be like, hey, we're planning on doing this on this day. Is this something that can work for you? Whatever. It helps build a healthy work environment between all the trades. Because sometimes, it's known that trades, like different trades have beef, like plumbers, electricians.
I mean, we all know electricians are the prima donnas of the contracting world.
And, and everybody feels that their trade is the most important. Everybody, no matter who you ask, you can ask the electrician, a plumber, a guy in HVAC, the guy who does the drywall, the paint. Everybody's going to say their trade is the most important. Yes. But, when you work together all the time, you kind of build a bond and you build a respect for each other so that you can try to help each other so everyone finishes quick. And I feel that's something that we notice a lot working with you guys. It's always the same faces. It's a very good sign.
Yeah. I feel like that efficiency and that camaraderie is like between the trades is like, I'm going to do whatever I can to help you out as the next guy, which ultimately the end result, the end product is a better project because it's more efficient. So you save money, you save time, and it gets done in a way that's safe and beautiful for everybody. I love it.
For sure. You guys are a very good contractor. And just to put it on the record, we do recommend you guys. Like if somebody's looking for a GC to run a project, always we say you got to go with Klasik.